Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is JC Bass Fishing Channel, and today we are coming live to you in the first live stream we are doing in my channel. Welcome to the first live stream. And before we get started, this live stream is going to be basically something that we're going to start doing with some of the anglers around the Georgia, Alabama area. We're going to be talking to them and trying to pick their brains to find out what are the different things they do in order to catch some bass. So in the different lakes around our areas. So before we get started, let me go ahead and get the intro going on, and we'll bring our guest today to talk about Lake Hardin tournament that we had a few weeks ago. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to bring my partner Hector Vasquez to the live stream. Hey Hector, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, Julio?
I'm doing fine, brother. I started doing this live stream. The intent that I'm looking at is a way for us to share our experience in the lake and see if we can uh, help some other anglers to figure out how to, you know, approach the different lakes and at least give them an idea of what we did. So that way, either they do something similar to what we did or they prevent doing what we did because we were not as successful as we thought we were going to be. So what do you think?
Well, I didn't think we were going to be that successful because of the miserable weather that we had. That cold front, we were right smack in the middle of it. And with the wind and the conditions that we had, I just thought that it wasn't going to be such a good day. But what I had in mind was that if we had it, you know, like that everyone else was going to have it the same way.
Yeah,
So I
correct,
was I
correct.
was positive when it came to that.
Yeah, well, I think the winning weight was like 13 pounds something, some
Yeah,
change, something like that.
yeah.
We have what, 36, 37 boats. So it was a decent tournament. Now, like you said, the conditions, especially in the morning, it was very cold. It was like 29 degrees or something like that, right?
19 with
19 with
with
the
the wind
windshield. Yeah, with the windshield. So it was very cold.
and very
Water
windy.
temperature, yeah, very water temperature was in the 40s, right?
Yeah.
And then as the day, got better, it went up in the low 50s in some areas of the lake that we went to. So, all right, so let's talk about what we did on that day. So in the morning when we took off, we went we went to the south end of the lake and we fished creek in that area, and we were able to catch a few small fish in that creek. What I know I was cranking, and you was doing something different than me. With
I was throwing the spinner bait at first. Um, I prepared really to slow down. I thought it was going to be a really day to slow down because of the conditions, but they were not biting anything slow. So I picked up a spinnerbait to go ahead and slow roll it.
okay, well, I know I was cranking, and I caught the first fish. I caught him cranking a
Rock
rock
crawler, I think it
throttle.
was.
Yeah, yeah, and it was like a molten color or something like that, molten craw. Then after that, I switched because they stopped biting. They were not biting any reaction, so I started casting. I was trying to, well, I was casting a jerk bait very slow, so I was jerking it a couple times and stopping it. It was a suspending jerk bait, so I stopped it like for 10, 15 seconds and see if I could get a bite. But then I was not able to get a bite with jerk bait. I don't know what was the deal. And after that, I picked up the shaky head and started casting the shaky head. You was after you started stop using the spinnerbait. What else did you use?
I used the Texas rig, and I also used the shaky head. I probably threw the jig a few times, but they weren't biting nothing slow. As soon as I picked up the spinnerbait again, they were just hitting that spinnerbait. That's what they wanted that day, which was rare for me because it was cold, but it was windy. So
Yeah,
I don't know if that right there
yeah, that probably.
kind of helped with the spinnerbait. I can't hear you.
Which the wind was
No.
creating that. No, I was saying that the wind was creating that. So for some reason, they were reacting to the spinnerbait
Yeah.
because of the wind conditions. So then we were able to catch 3 fish in that area. And then we went to our second point. But when we went to our second point, there was somebody already fishing our area. So we stay away from it, and we stayed in some laydowns, and we were casting shaky head and the jerk bait on that area where the laydowns was at.
I was still throwing the spinnerbait, and I was hitting the brush piles that were right there in the creek. But then I started throwing it to the bank where there were also some laydowns underwater, and that's where I pulled, the big one once I hit one of those laydowns.
Yeah, that's that area basically had two brush piles right in the middle of the creek.
Yeah,
So and they were like what, about 12 feet deep,
yeah,
somewhere in there. So that right there, uh, even though we tried to catch some fish on those brush piles, it was hard for us to catch a fish in the brush pile. But then we started casting to the sides, and when we started casting to the sides, that's when you hit that tree, you hit that branch, and that big one took your to spinnerbait.
yeah.
So after that, what was the move we made after that?
Well, after that, I hung my spinnerbait, and that's where I lost it. I lost
Okay.
the spinnerbait they were biting on, and I tried to duplicate that with other spinnerbaits I had. However, I didn't have the exact same one. For some reason, I had some similar,
Mm-hmm.
same weight, kind of the same color, but they didn't want that spinnerbait. The one that they wanted was the War Eagle that I had. It was a War Eagle half ounce with kind of like a silver skirt, but it had big blades.
Oh, okay.
And on the blades, it had like scales. It wasn't just a plain gold spinnerbait or silver. What I was throwing was actually silver. It has some design to it, like scales. And yeah, that's the spinnerbait they wanted. After that, none of my other spinnerbaits they wanted to hit. So
But one thing that was working in our favor was that we were not fishing dirty water. We were fishing lightly stained water to clear
yeah,
water.
yeah,
So that was working. Could be the reason why they were hitting your spinnerbait, because it was a white spinnerbait with silver blades, which usually the one that I had tied on was chartreuse white with gold blades. So that's the
yeah.
reason why I was not getting any bites on my spinnerbait, but you was getting the bigger bites on your spinnerbait.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was actually the spinnerbait. I'm saying it's the spinnerbait because after that I tied some other ones and didn't get a bite. But I think the key was to hit some of those branches that were
on
underwater.
the brush piles. Yeah.
Yeah, if we stayed, it was a matter of hitting enough of those brush piles with a spinnerbait and getting some extra bites.
Yeah.
Don't know because after that we were kind of running out of time. So we went to some other different areas.
Okay. Then yeah, okay. So that was what we were doing in the morning. It was like about what 9:30 when we took off and left. We left that area and we started going up to the Mid Lake towards the Alabama side, and and we went blank for a long time in that area. We couldn't catch anything at that time.
We
And
did.
we had some wind. We had some clear water. It was not. It was lightly stained, clear water, but they were not hitting anything. They were not hitting any of the lures that we were using.
No.
And we found fish because we could see the fish. We could see the fish moving. We try to drop shot them. We try to wacky rig them. We try to jerk
Everything.
bait. We try to crank them. We try to spinner bait them.
A rig, Alabama
Oh,
rig.
the Alabama rig. We tried everything, but we were not able to catch anything at that time. But it was a period of time that it's like they stopped completely biting.
Yeah, and I thought that for a second there, because they were hitting the spinnerbait so much, I thought that we were gonna get a lot of extra bites with a Alabama rig
Mm-hmm.
because it's similar. If they were chasing bait around, that's a bigger meal. The presentation is a lot bigger, and I was shocked that I didn't get a bite on it.
And your Alabama rig, what how do you had it set up?
I had it set up with um it was the color of the swim baits were kind of like a silver, almost like a minnow style color with some quarter ounce weights, different weights. I had some lighter weights on top, little heavier weights on the bottom. Usually what I throw and I catch a lot of fish with. Um in 20-pound line with a heavy rod. But we went to the areas where I usually catch them with, and the fish were there. We saw 'em, especially
Mm-hmm.
the bridges.
Yeah. So after that, we didn't catch anything for a few hours. And then after that, we moved. The wind picked up. It was very strong. And we started hitting the bridges and the rip wraps around the bridges. And you was casting the Alabama rig at that
The hey,
time
Red.
in the bridges pilings. And I decided to change completely from what you was doing. And I rigged up a Texas rig speedworm, a green pumpkin with a chartreuse tail. I dipped the tail in chartreuse, and I cast it towards the rip wrap to one of the edges of the bridge. And as you was moving, I just let the line just drag, and all of a sudden I felt something in the bottom. It felt like I went over a piece of cement or a column or something like that. And at that moment, as soon as my Texas rig went over that and fell in the other side, I felt the bite. So I immediately set the hook, and that's where we caught our fifth fish, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was almost 3 pounder. It was almost a 3 pounder.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
It
a
was
big
one of
fish.
the. It was one of the big ones that we had.
Yeah, it was a big fish. It's just that it was a lot. It was skinnier, but
Yeah,
it was a big fish. It had a big mouth, and and we tried and we tried and we tried. We could see the fish right there,
Yeah.
in the
I was
bridge for.
shocked. I was shocked that you caught that on a Texas rig. We
Yeah,
have never
me too.
thrown a Texas rig on a bridge. So I was pretty shocked when that happened. That threw me off guard because we were seeing the fish. A lot of the fish were up high chasing because there was a lot of bait
Yeah,
in that
there was.
area.
Yeah. Hmm.
And there was a balls. I mean, there was a lot of bass in that area. That one was on the bottom, which you
Yeah,
caught, but we ran out of time. I think if we would have had more time and we would have stayed there, we would have had a couple extra bites.
correct, correct. Yeah, I think it's the same too. Um, because by that time we only had probably about 35 minutes left, and we
Yeah,
left the bridge. We stopped at another point that was our last point that we usually catch, 2 pounders, and we were not able to get a bite in that area. So we have
yeah,
5 bites. We have 5 bites. Well, no, we had 6 bites the whole day. One of the fish was short, basically. It was a
yeah.
little one, but we only basically had 6 bites and 5 keepers, uh, and that was it. We were not able to change
To call
the,
out, yeah,
the
that
yeah.
those first two fish that were 1 pound each.
Hmm.
From the very beginning, I said that we have to get rid of these two to be able to be there in the money or somewhere where we want to be. Those two had to go, and I said that first thing in the morning when we caught those two,
Yeah,
and we couldn't. I mean, if we would have upgraded them to a 2 pound each or two and some change, we
yeah,
probably would have had the tournament. But
yeah, because we ended up with almost 10 pounds. We had like
yeah,
978 or something like
y-
that. So
yeah,
if we
it
if
was
we would
close to
have,
10 pounds.
yeah, so if we would change those two
Those
fish,
two,
the little ones, to 2 pounders instead of 1 pounders,
two
we
and a half.
probably,
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, and that was basically everything we did in the whole day. I mean, it was not something we had a plan. We stick to the plan. Things worked out. However, we were not able to catch all the fish, or at least most of the fish that we seen on the screen of the electronics. If we would have been able to at least catch a few of those fish that we seen, probably our weight would have been a lot different than
yeah.
the way it was.
One thing that I keep on thinking that we didn't do at that bridge was a deep jerk bait. I
Correct.
think I think a deep jerk bait on that bridge would have been a good move.
Yeah.
But we ran out of time again and we weren't, you know,
You see, that's one of the biggest problems. You get so caught up on what you're doing at the moment
that you're
that
not thinking.
that you're
Yeah,
not thinking that there are other ways that you can probably, there are other things that you can probably use and catch those fish. But you get so caught
yeah.
up on what you're doing at the moment that you completely forget about it, and then you end up either leaving the area or just getting disappointed, and
Yeah.
and and not trying what you need to be trying.
Because I think there was so much bass in that area and we only got that bite dragging. To me, anything, I think they were very finicky, so that's why I don't think they were hitting the A rig. But I think something like a Demiki rig, uh, the jerk bait, deep jerk bait, or even a 3/4 ounce spinner bait, running it down there where that bait was, we could have had a few bites. You froze again. I can't hear you. Okay, you're back.
We get so caught up on doing just one thing, and we forget that we have all the things that we can use. And
Yeah,
I had a net rig, like I said, I had a net rig tied, and I could have probably used that net rig and either dead stick it or just slightly move it, and probably would have got some bites using
yeah.
that.
Probably had probably going down as it went down. They would have hit it because it's
Yeah,
something small, something light, like a Demiki rig.
yeah.
Something that goes down slow, right in their face. Yeah, but
Okay.
overall, I was happy with the results. There was between 10 pounds and 13 pounds. There were 7 people ahead of us, in that group. So anyone that would have caught one or two more fish just a little bit bigger would have won.
Yeah.
So we were very close.
Yeah, it was a pretty good tournament, and just to say right here, and we're going to enter basically into the closing remarks, and just to say the way the tournament was run was outstanding. From early in the morning when they arrive and set up, all the way to waiting the fish at the end of the day,
Yes.
and ensuring that everybody was out of the water and everything was run safely. So the way these people ran that tournament was awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
and these people are our league is Fishers of Men. This is our first time. We are new to the league, and really, I was impressed by from the day before where we had our meeting. Everything they did from the food to the people to it was right there in the church, which we had someone come and share the word to the next day, early in the morning, check in and everything else. I was impressed. So I'm putting it out there for people that are watching this. If you can find this league around you, go ahead and join it. Really good people.
and not only that, if they want to come and fish, in our league,
Yeah,
most of the people over here in the Georgia southern area, um, I believe the next tournament is going to be in Lake Eufaula on the 19th of February. So if there are people that want to come and check it out and sign up for it, I think is a team tournament. So you can bring your buddy with you, and is $151 for regular um, tournament registration, and it's 181, if I'm not mistaken, if you go into the additional pot, and I believe it's $40 for membership to the club. So it's a good thing. It's a good league. I was impressed, just like Hector was, and we're looking forward to continue to fish with these people.
yeah.
So go ahead.
And one more thing is it's not about winning or really the money. It's about sharing the word, being with people, that love Christ and having a good time. I had a good time. Even if it was cold, I had a good time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So I think that's going to do it for this one. I don't want to make it too long,
Yeah.
but hopefully we'll go ahead and get this rolling and get some different guests to come and talk to us and tell us about their experiences and how they approach different lakes around these areas, and the way they fish. We're not looking for the secret lures or nothing like that. Is sharing information between anglers to help each other. So when we go out there to the water, we all having a good time, and is spending a whole day in the water with no bites or worrying about where the fish are at, which
Yeah.
happens a lot. All right, brother. So I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for coming in today and helping me with this live stream.
Thank you for
Um,
inviting me.
all right, brother. So I'll be talking to you later on, and we're gonna go ahead and close this today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Uh, leave us a like, leave us a comment, and have a good one.